Indonesia, Tzu Chi volunteers initiated disaster relief works after floods hit Medan. We take a look at the stories of these recycling volunteers from the Banqiao recycling station. Selamat datang ke Headline, saya Simon Gan. Terima kasih menyertai sesi berita kita. In Indonesia, heavy rains led to floods in Medan. Tzu Chi Medan branch initiated disaster relief work, distributing daily supplies to 320 families.
After floodwater receded, Medan's residential area is full of debris. Military personnel are prepared to help with cleanup. Tzu Chi Medan branch has also initiated disaster relief work.
In the morning after the flood, we started to assess damages in several villages. The disaster condition was expected. Then we heard that residents passed away and houses collapsed in Desa Tanjung Salamet, so we came over here.
It kept raining on the night of the flood. Water came into the house suddenly, and the water level rose quickly. It was about 4 meters deep. We escaped to the roof.
After assessing damages, volunteers bought aid supplies, including blankets, sarongs, masks, sanitation products, mattresses, and baby products such as milk bottles, and diapers.
We were trapped on the roof for about 4 hours. Fortunately, people saved us. We live here, but there are not supplies. Fortunately, you have distributed supplies to us.
Desa Tanjung Salamet has been the hardest hit, so we came here to distribute daily supplies. We hope to help them get through the tough times.
Volunteers clad in blue and white uniforms have appeared at the shelter, bringing hope to the flood-affected residents.
The Philippines was continuously hit by typhoons in November. Tzu Chi volunteers in Ormoc City took the initiative to raise funds and love to help the typhoon-affected residents.
Hi sir, manikuntag sir, Banqiao mi gamay donation sir, para sa ating mga kaigsuonan, nasa langgam ng Bagyong Ulysses. Any amount lang, basta kasing. Thank you, God bless.
Volunteers went to the streets again to raise funds for the typhoon-affected residents, upholding the spirit of helping others.
Tzu Chi Ormoc volunteers nag-street collection para sa mga families na naapektahan sa Bagyong Ulysses.
City volunteers in Ormoc City initiated a fundraising activity for the families affected by Typhoon Banqiao so that we can help the affected residents like those living in Luzon.
Ngadto sa Luzon o sa iba pang mga lugar.
The gathering of love depends on everyone's contribution. Although people's income has sharply decreased during the epidemic prevention period, the tricycle drivers still generously donated.
We, as tricycle drivers, donate to the Tzu Chi Foundation to help the affected residents.
Kaming mga volunteers ni donate po.
We're volunteers. We donate some of the allowance we receive every week to help the affected residents in special needs.
Labi nagdito sa Luzon.
In just 2 days, more than $830 were raised. Regardless of the amount, as long as you are willing to give, everyone can share love to help others.
Also in the Philippines, Tzu Chi volunteers have regularly sent rice to poor families during the pandemic. Many aid recipients have repaid their kindness by donating into the bamboo coin banks. Take a look.
A whole bag of coins have traces of being scorched. This is Rama, who dug out the coins from the ruins of a fire.
Nasunugan kami. Pasalamat.
Even though our house was burned down, we still appreciate Tzu Chi.
Tulong na naman ang sabi, di ba? Tulong.
Now the family lives in a shed. Because of the epidemic, the tricycle driver has not been on the road for a long time. Even so, they still donated the only change they had left in the family.
During this pandemic, Tzu Chi continued to help us, so we did not go hungry or cold.
Over the past 3 months, Tzu Chi has regularly issued rice to help people in poverty. The single father, Luis, and his 2-year-old daughter live beside the railway and rely on each other. The trolley that they usually rely on has been idle for some time.
Yung kita namin,
Our passengers are students, but because the school has switched to online classes at home, we have fewer passengers and our income has also decreased.
Grateful to have rice to eat, every time there's a distribution, they all come back with bamboo coin banks, and no matter how poor they are, they still save a little every day.
It is the fourth year Tzu Chi Foundation organized the Youth Innovation Project. This year, 33 teams entered the finals. Their entries focus on environmental protection and sustainable economy. Take a look.
When the fashion industry becomes the world's second largest source of pollution, what can we do? The founder of Storywear recycles denim clothing and drives local women to find their second careers.
We cooperate with Tzu Chi's recycling station to use these recycled fabrics and gather local tailors to make this kind of production line together. That means that we're giving back to the local women during the production of clothes and at the same time solving the problem of local garbage.
When the usage reaches $30 each day, our prices are competitive with disabled containers.
Creating reusable drink containers is an idea of the founder, Song Yizhen, had when she was just a student. She turned it into action and promoted it in the business sector successfully.
We hope the value of the container be defined by the number of the times it has been used instead of its selling price.
It is the fourth year for the Tzu Chi Foundation to sponsor the Youth Innovation Project. 33 teams enter the finals. From environmental protection to education innovation, the participants share their experience on the stage on how to combine business and public welfare together, creating greater social value by using the creativity of the younger generation.
In Taiwan, Guanshan Tzu Chi Hospital organized a promotional event for organ donation, hoping that the public can further understand its concept.
一个人他依照他自己的意愿或者他家人的意愿，然后呢，他是用无偿的方式把他就是说可利用的器官或组织捐赠给需要的。
Guanshan Tzu Chi Hospital organized an organ donation promotional event and invited members of the public to participate.
Good organ can be used continuously so that the patient in need continue its life.
If I pass away one day and there are still usable organs, I am willing to donate it to those in need.
Volunteers helped register the information of the donors and also invited doctors and nurses to share about hospice care and patients' autonomy.
It's really good and very meaningful. It is better to have more promotional events if there are suitable time and place.
The government and many hospitals have been actively promoting organ donation. In fact, everyone is gradually accepting this concept. What we need to do is try our best to encourage the public to put it into effect.
Through collaboration of the medical team and volunteers, it is hoped that organ donation can be promoted to more people.
At the Banqiao recycling station, nearly 30 recycling volunteers work hard to sort recyclables every day. In our next report, we take a look at the stories of these recycling volunteers. I was born in Myanmar and came to Taiwan after graduating from elementary school. In 2008, Cyclone Nargis hit Myanmar. I saw on TV that Tzu Chi volunteers carried out disaster relief to help the Burmese, so I wanted to know more about Tzu Chi. I joined the community volunteer training class in 2016 and decided to get rid of my smoking addiction the next year. During the training, the master always mentioned about global warming and climate abnormality. Only by practicing environmental protection and embracing vegetarianism can we save the planet. I then made a vow to devote myself to recycling. Today, we have two locations. One is on Zhongzheng Road, while the other one is at the train station. Please go and collect the recyclables.
I was really shocked by the master's explanation of the importance of environmental protection, so after I retired, I came to the recycling station at Banqiao grounds to do help. Of course, we have been advocating garbage sorting and the concept of purifying at the source to the public. After the garbage is separated from the resources, they can take it to us.
I had a stroke caused by cerebral embolism 6 years ago, making it inconvenient to move. 3 years ago, Tzu Chi sisters invited me to do recycling. I promised, and it has been more than 2 years now. It took me about an hour walk for the first time, but now it only takes 20 minutes. I used to watch TV or play on cell phone every day at home, or else I just napped. After I came here to do recycling, I found it's fulfilling. Doing this is more or less the same as doing rehabilitation.
I will help these volunteers to take blood pressure every day. If the blood pressure is too high, I'll advise the volunteers to take a break or seek medical treatment. I hope they'll be healthy doing recycling.
I really want to widely promote environmental protection so that more people will know about it. I also want to do recycling continuously.
In Malaysia, Tzu Chi Malacca chapter is providing relief aid to the cycle rickshaw drivers. Among the recipients is 71-year-old Grandpa Lee Kim, who had a festering wound on his right leg. Team of nurses helped him clean up his wound, while volunteers provided love and care.
哎呦哎呦，很痛很痛，哎呦哎呦，哎呦，
没事没事，
哎呦，
一下子啊。
Enduring the pain, 71-year-old Grandpa Lee Kim has mobility issues due to an accident. Malacca Tzu Chi chapter arranged a nurse to help clean his wound.
Part of his wound is still swollen, the place we saw just now, so when we pressed it, a little blood came out.
It was much more swollen the other day. It seemed better today. Maybe it's because he is so healthy.
Providing care and company to Grandpa Lee, volunteers not only care for his foot injury, but also understand that due to the pandemic, he's unable to earn a living.
When I first met him, I think that he is very independent. He faced the challenges in life bravely. Although his foot is injured, he is still thinking of when will he recover and head back to work. He was a little sad the other day, but today we saw a smile on his face.
You all have provided assistance, therefore my life has become much easier.
Aid relief is temporary, but self-blessing is eternal. As Grandpa Lee finally had a smile on his face, it is hoped that he will be able to take tourists and tour around Malacca as soon as possible. In Malaysia, Pong Wee Chong and his wife are both hearing impaired. Their lives became even difficult when the husband fractured his left leg and was unable to work. Their neighbor notified Tzu Chi volunteers about their condition, and volunteers head over to help this couple. Using body language, writing on a blackboard or typing on a phone, volunteers thought of various ways just to communicate with them.
We tried to use paper and whiteboard to communicate. Today we used a small blackboard that Sister Lifen brought. We want to know what they think, and the only way of communication is through writing, because we do not know sign language.
37-year-old Peng Wee Chong and his wife were both born hearing impaired. His left leg fractured due to a fall, and life became difficult. Thankfully, they have helpful neighbors.
I saw the volunteers and asked if they could help this couple. Then they came to visit them and assess their situation.
They noticed that their living environment was a mess and has poor hygiene. Therefore, 16 volunteers head over to help clean up their house, with members of the Deaf Association lending a helping hand.
This is the first time seeing Tzu Chi volunteers assisting former members of our association. I'm very happy that you all have really helped them out.
Today we cleaned up the whole house. We cleaned the ceiling and also mopped the floor and vacuumed it.
Volunteers also provided them with furniture, helping Peng with movement disability to be able to live a better life.
The main purpose is to provide a cleaner and more hygienic living environment for them, and it would also be easier for them to cook meals.
He wrote on the blackboard just now, saying that he's very grateful toward Tzu Chi and Master Zheng Yan because we actually fulfilled our promise to him.
Even though their world is silent, but that does not stop the love from spreading to them, warming their hearts. In China, Kunshan Tzu Chi volunteers visit Siyang to conduct some New Shoot Scholarship home visits. Although this year has been plagued by COVID-19, volunteers still find time to quickly complete the home's visits before the end of the year.
As the pandemic is slowing down in China, Tzu Chi volunteers make a trip to Siyang to visit scholarship students. To save on time, they pause at the rest stop to make Tzu Chi's instant rice for lunch.
Each group needs to visit at least 10 families, and if we eat at a restaurant and visit the families, we will definitely not finish all the families this afternoon.
There are a total of about 200 families to visit this time. At this farming village, the volunteers understand the mother who had a stroke's worry.
I tell you, your child is older now. Look, she is mature, and she knows how to take care of you.
The son now has a chance to express his gratitude to his mother.
Look at how moved your mother is with just a simple hug. Remember to hug your mother more often.
Towards the evening, they continue to visit the next family, which is the single parent. There are a total of 350 students receiving financial assistance. Huang Su-qing, who is already in college, was sick twice during her educational journey, and every time she wanted to give up, someone was always there to lend support.
Really, without so much hope given to me, I wouldn't have made it today.
With the encouragement of someone who has been there, the students know they too can get through the journey with hard work and dedication. And as they receive aid from Tzu Chi, they don't forget to reciprocate a little.
A bill. This is love. It's heavy, filled with love.
In the end, this is the warmest gathering yet of this winter.
It's so cold, but seeing your passion, we feel your warmth.
Seeing the students' sunshine personality makes me feel everything is worth it.
Spreading compassionate thoughts to them, and we hope that they will spread these actions to more people. In the future, when I complete the wish, I'll join Tzu Chi to help the less fortunate people find a job in my hotel. There have been many disputes over ground-based solar power farms. In Chishang, Taichung, residents are most concerned about their farmland, which is popular with tourists. Follow a report as we learn more.
I'm returning to my hometown. I'm a young farmer, so I think there should be some things for me to do when I return to my hometown. If there's a solar panel farm to the east, the scenery of Chishang will be scenery discounted. In the east, especially Chishang, Taidong, will there be a shortage of electricity? Since there is no shortage of electricity, why do we have to do the work of creating electricity?
Solar power shouldn't be developed in Chishang. When the power comes, the tourists won't. Do you really think the tourists will still come? 500 hectares without telephone poles. This is our Chishang villagers' hard work for many years to maintain this most beautiful landscape of rice fields. Our Chishang Township office does not even agree to build such things. So how can they develop solar power?
Tourists ride bicycles into the beautiful golden yellow rice fields, rushing to take photos of beautiful rice blowing in the wind. The township has become an important cultural and tourist attraction known for unique beauty, which changes in different seasons. However, in August 2020, Chishang shocked the world by saying a solar power farm would be built.
池上乡公所为了响应政府推动太阳光电计划。
In fact, all the villagers in Chishang Township didn't know that this piece of land was going to be used for solar power. That night, I went back to Taipei immediately, bought strips of white cloth and wrote on it myself. When I came back that day, I directly started protesting.
各位乡亲，池上将设置70公顷的光电板，乡亲们有义务要知道这件事情。
Only then did Zhisang villagers realize that there were 2 solar-powered farms projects in progress. One site is dominated by Zhisang Township office located at 4K of Taiwan County Route 20A line, covering an area of 70 hectares and is owned by National Property Administration. The other site is just behind Zhisang Railway Station. 3 farmland covers an area of 1 hectare. This is privately owned construction land. When Shu Yangguo bought at the end of August, excavators had already started land preparation. The township head declared that he had no prior knowledge of this and called an urgent public hearing to address the situation.
Some say that when they exit the train station and all they see is solar panels, it's not good looking. It looks just like construction site. Yes, legally applied for approval, so what should we do? The first is to ask them to stop working and then get them to agree. The second includes terminating the contract with the landlord.
How to deal with this highlights lack of policy control when green energy development proceeds rapidly.
In addition to environmental impact assessment, is it possible to add a topic of social impact assessment to let everyone know about this project? After knowing about this and getting their approval, won't this policy be more complete?
Going north along Taiwan 20A in the direction of Amis Luan Tribal Village, a large piece of land next to this green tunnel used to be a sugarcane field owned by Taiwan Sugar. Because it is far away from the sightseeing area, the mayor submitted it to the central government for solar power development after obtaining the consent of the tribe.
He felt that because it was not fertile field and it was not suitable for growing rice for decades, so he wanted to provide it as a place for solar power. But because the public still has doubts, we asked Taidong and Chishang to continue using it for farming.
The central government intervened, temporarily stopping the project, but the head of Chishang still hopes to make his community a green rice township.
By developing solar power, we'll become a green energy rice producer, and we can promote this as part of our community, as Chishang will become a benchmark for green energy rural areas in the world.
Now the Chishang Township office plans to use their landfill space in Chishang as a solar power farm.
It's located in a small forest in the back of Jingcheng Wushu. If you put solar panels, there all the tourists who come here will all see the solar panels.
Will there be some substances or chemical elements that will remain on the land? It seems that no one has done relevant research and only thinks of it as wasteland. If you are in a food crisis, will you think it as a wasteland?
The funds from solar power generation can go back to the local community. The funds return to our Chishang Township office social welfare expenditures, so our whole township will benefit.
How to take into account the local natural landscape and human development and while responding to the government's green energy policy. These are the challenges and the opportunities that will shape the overall landscape of Taiwan in the future, as Zhisang is just the tip of the iceberg.
In Changhua, Tzu Chi volunteers prepared vegetarian meal boxes for the participants of the one-day disaster relief victim event hosted by the county government. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you and goodbye.